Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the Brawley City Council Community Redevelopment Agency meeting to order this Tuesday, October the 7th, 2014 at 6 p.m. And can we have the roll call, please?
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
We're going to have the invocation by Pastor Troy Dowdy from the Assembly of God Church and the Pledge of Allegiance by Council Member Mr. Donnie Wharton.
Let us pray. God Almighty of heaven and earth, Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of God, we honor you tonight by giving you thanks for the many abundant blessings that you have given us. We thank you for this city council and for our mayor and for this fine city that you've given us to live in. We pray tonight that as this city council comes together to do business for our city, that your hand would be upon them, that you would help them to make decisions that honor you, decisions that are in the best interest for the people who live and work in this city. We pray for your peace in this council. We pray for your peace and blessings in our city, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wharton, for that. And we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve is written, Mr. Mayor.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is public appearance and comments. And this is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter's jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the council.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Knagi, and I would like to do a presentation. Good evening, Mayor Campbell, members of the City Council, City Manager, Mrs. Bayon Moore, City Administrators, and members of the public. My name is Jessica Knagi. I am here tonight to report to you regarding the Girl Scout Gold Award project involving citizens of Brawley, the Parks and Recreation Department, and Pat Williams Park. As of the Gold Award project, I had to choose an issue, investigate the issue, build a team, create a plan, have the plan submitted to the Girl Scout Gold Award Committee in San Diego, take action on my plan, and make presentations to approximately 5 different organizations. This is a simplified list of standards required for the Gold Award project. The Gold Award empowers junior and senior girls in high school who wish to achieve the highest honor in Girl Scouts. This is equal to the Boy Scout Eagle Scout Award. I want to inform you this is not just a simple service project. My project was chosen because growing up, Pat Williams was my park of choice. Over the years, I saw less and less people utilizing the park. I felt the issue was the park was in desperate need of a beautification. I have given each council member photographs of how Pat Williams Park looked prior to the beginning of my project, what was done during the project, and items still in need of repair. To make this short, we planted trees, cleaned, sanded, and painted the tables, the gazebo trim, the pillars in the gazebo, and the backboards of the horseshoe area. We also picked up trash, painted any graffiti on the playground equipment. This past weekend, I presented Pat Williams Park with the renovations my team and I did. To the public that was using the park at the time, the Imperial Valley Press, my Girl Scout Gold Award mentor who drove from San Diego to see the end result, and Councilwoman Mrs. Noriega who was at the park. I would like to note that for the couple hours I was there appeared to be an increase in the use of the park. And when I spoke to people in the park, they commented on how nice the park looked. Not only was the grass cut, but the improvements made by my team allowed the families to truly enjoy the park. It was my honor tonight to say thank you to the Parks and Recreation Department, for their support throughout my project, and to request from the city, when funding is available, hopefully within the next year, that the boards used for the trim on the gazebos can be replaced, and the purchase of some cooling paint for the park equipment that the children play on, which my team and I would be happy to paint when completed. I thank you for your time and your commitment to our parks and citizens of Brawley. By doing this project, it has empowered me to become an active member of Brawley. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have to say that whatever reason I went down there, I don't know what made me go down there. I just drove down there and found out there was this big hole as soon as you get off of the asphalt onto the dirt. So hopefully someone will fix that. But as I drove, Mary called me over, and Carol Sassy, and said, we need for you to look at something. So I did, and I was introduced to Jessica. And I have to say, for as young as these kids are, they did a fantastic job. They worked really hard. It was super hot out there, and they not only worked that day, but they worked on various days, correct? So I have to say thank you for her commitment to what her project was all about and how she handled the whole situation. It was very nice. Congratulations.
Jessica, to you and the other kids, thank you guys so much. This city is our home, and I mean, I appreciate the fact that you guys care as much as you do.
Jessica, thank you very much for your efforts. It's a park that I used growing up, and in fact, I broke my arm there. So I have some real memories of that park, but I really had a lot of great times growing up there as well. And in fact, our chief of police and I, we walked it maybe a month and a half ago, because there was some people that were camping out in the area we were trying to get cleared out. So I appreciate your efforts very much, and I congratulate you on your efforts. Thank you.
I'd like to comment if I could. Great pictures and great presentation too. You did very, very well. It's always impressive. I can't believe how as council member Noriega talked about, youth going out and doing great things. I want you to know it inspires a lot of us in this room that feel the same way, about this city. So bravo, great job.
Yes, Jessica, great job. It's always nice to have someone work on the parks and get them up to snuff so that people can play and enjoy them all the time. And it's hard for us as a city to do that without the help of the citizens. And so it's great that you guys could do that. And it's really great. Congratulations on the project.
Is there anyone else from the public like to come up?
Hi, good evening. My name is Ms. Yara Lee. I'm the Resource Development Coordinator with the Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here. I just wanted to take this opportunity to invite you to an event that we're having at the Stockman's Club October 24th at 8 o'clock. It's called Dueling Piano Night. It's one of our funnest events, and I would like to pass these flyers out for you, and we hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. I'm sure you're shocked to see me here. Even more shocked to imagine that I'm going to talk about cattle call.
Oh, boy.
One of the new things we're doing this year, we're calling it the Cattle Call Trail, and it got underway October 1st, and I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention, both in the public and the city. The way it works is we have 11 participating businesses, and members, visitors to the city, residents of the city, anybody who wants to participate, you pick up a card at any of those participating businesses, and you go around and visit each of the sites. You get a chance to see what some of the local businesses are doing. This includes the Boys and Girls Club, the Chamber, the City Library, and several of our local retailers. And it's a great opportunity to get to see. A lot of people, of course, come to town for cattle call. They come to see their family. They probably go out to eat, but this is a good excuse to go out and visit with some of the other businesses they may not get to check out. You get to go to Green Patch Nursery. You get to see some of the different locations. And so if you go to all of the 11 locations and get the stickers from each, you can also be entered in a drawing to win $500. So good opportunity to see the city, meet the businesses, and maybe win some money. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. That will be running through November 7th so that the cattle call visitors will have the opportunity to join the cattle call trail as well. And some of the businesses, I can't leave out Florentine Homes. They've decorated nicely for the event. So it's another good place to go see. And it's just going to be a lot of fun and a good opportunity to see what Brawley has to offer. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else from the public like to come up? Okay, then seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, item 2A, introduction of Ricardo Argalas from the City of Brawley Lab Analyst.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members, Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. It's such a great honor to present tonight Mr. Ricardo Arguelles. He's our new laboratory analyst at the city's wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Arguelles, he currently has, I want to go over, I'm very proud that he has a lot of certificates and licenses, and I really want to brag about him. But he has a laboratory analyst grade 1, and he's due for his grade 2 exam, so which he'll be obtaining in the following year. He also has a water treatment grade 2 certificate. Next month, he already passed a test for his grade 2 wastewater treatment certificate, and he's waiting to accumulate the hours, so hopefully next month he'll obtain his certificate in wastewater treatment. He also has a distribution grade 2 license, collections grade 1 license, a class A license. He has a certificate from IVC in water technology with a concentration in wastewater. He's a graduate from Brawley Union High School. He started with us as a temporary worker. As a volunteer worker. He was with us for 4 months. Then he was a temporary worker for over a year, and now he was offered the position of the full-time laboratory analyst. So, with great pride, I introduce to you Mr. Ricardo Arguelles.
Hi, my name is Ricardo Arguelles, and I'm the new laboratory analyst for the City of Brawley wastewater treatment plant. And I want to thank all the city employees and city council for the opportunity. And I will do my best to comply with the city standards.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Jasmine, thank you. And Ricardo, I want to say that it sounds like you took the necessary time and steps to accomplish where you are, and we appreciate it, and we welcome you on board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, Ricardo, I remember seeing you in the lab, but when you sat there, I thought, who is that young man? I've seen him somewhere. I couldn't remember. You look very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move right along. The next item is a presentation, a proclamation in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month to Linda Cady, Executive Director of Between Women. I have a proclamation, but I'm not for sure if anyone from Between Women is here at this point.
What if she forgot?
You want to go ahead and read it?
Yeah. I can go to the next item real quick, and then we can come back to this one. The next item is 2C, presentation regarding the Imperial County Gang Intelligence Coalition, ICGIC, by the City of Imperial Police Sergeant Leonard Barra.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and citizens of Brawley. My name is Sergeant Leonard Barra from the Imperial Police Department. If I turn my back to you guys, I also want to talk to the citizens also. Sure. I think it's very important that they're aware of what we're about. My name is, like I said, my name is Sergeant Leonard Barra. I'm an admin sergeant for the Imperial Police Department, and my partner's going to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. Gerardo Guerrero, U.S. Border Patrol, Calexico Station.
Frank Martinez, Imperial County Appropriation Department.
We are the chairmen, the board of the Imperial County Gang Intelligence Coalition, and we wanted to introduce ourselves and explain what we're about. The coalition is made up of state, local, and federal law enforcement officers, and we get together once a month and just share information regarding gangs. But once we start talking to give information about gangs, it rolls to other incidents that happen here in the county, such as narcotics, violent crimes, anything. Like I said, anything that has to do with gangs, it just snowballs from there. So we try to work with each other, give other officers information. Also, what we do is once we start giving information to everybody else, we start seeing that there's a line between each city when an incident happens. Just because an incident happens in Calexico doesn't mean it doesn't affect Brawley, it doesn't affect Nyland or even Sealy. It actually is all connected, and that's what we're here. That's what we got together, because we wanted to make sure that all law enforcement in Imperial County works together and try to work on these crimes. Like I said, once again, the coalition is made up of state, local, and federal. That goes from every city here in the county to state, including Department of Justice and even the prison systems. We all work together, probation, and from federal we have FBI, we have U.S. Attorney General that's helped us out a couple of times also. Okay. What we try to do is we also get together and we give information to the Imperial County Gang Task Force that's housed at LECC here in Imperial. And there's a gang unit that's right now, it's only made up of federal agents. And what they go out and do, we try to give them some information about gang incidents here in the county, and they go out and try to document each gang member as much as they can. Each documented gang member, they go out, contact a supposed gang member, give all the information, and see if they can classify them as a gang member. Once they do classify them as a gang member, that ticket or that little field identification card gets put into a local system. Now, if we go out tonight and they contact a subject that they find out is a gang member, 2 years from now, when that gang member assaults a juvenile or assaults an elderly person, that ticket right there that happened today, 2 years later can go from just getting a probation to actually going to prison, just by that one ticket. And my partner's going to go and give you a brief history of the coalition.
Thank you. Yeah, so a little bit of the history of why the Gang Coalition was initiated. Due to resources having limited resources in Imperial County, a lot of the law enforcement agencies here in the county do not have currently dedicated gang units, gang investigators. So a lot of that information is it takes time to understand the gang culture and understand when a gang crime occurs, and to understand how to target that specific case if it was gang related. So the last task force that was up and running here in the county was the FBI Gang Task Force. I was a part of that. One of my partners there used to be an investigator detective here in Brawley PD, Romualdo, Detective Romualdo. So at that time we were operating under the Gang Task Force, but then due to funding, same thing happened. The task force was defunded and all pretty much it was disbanded. Well, all that information that we had obtained during that time, we were able to save it, and when saving it, when we created this coalition, this is where the information started. We brought in the information here, so we don't have to start from scratch. So like I said, prior to the coalition being established, there was no gang information share mechanism that existed here in the county between all law enforcement agencies from the local, state, and federal. And the coalition consists of representatives of all county agencies that operate here, that are currently operating here. The founding members, this is pretty much how initially it was started as an idea, but from then on, obviously we have more members within the coalition that we work with, either through our monthly meetings or just through training. So it's something that we're trying to evolve right now. It started last August 2013, and we're trying to push it more into not just the law enforcement community, but also push it towards just the general community as well, the public, and provide community outreach programs, anything that we can provide as a gang prevention method that we can utilize and we can offer the community as well. So we're not just trying to keep it within the law enforcement community in the county, but we're also trying to work with the rest of the community, whether it's through the public education community or just parents in general. We're trying to do as much, pretty much create something that everybody can utilize. The initial goal, obviously, was to establish a law enforcement gang intelligence sharing network within the county. And what we wanted to do, we wanted to make it 100% self-sustaining, meaning we did not require any funds. What we do require, though, is the volunteer and the willingness from each law enforcement officer involved with it to work with it, to work with within the coalition, so we can all help each other out. It didn't matter if we were from a certain agency or not. We just wanted to be able to help each other out throughout the coalition. Go ahead and pass it back to the other.
Since we started this coalition, we've also been part of the state association for gang intelligence. What we do is they sent an email for every agency in the county, and not just in our county, but also along the state. Any kind of gang investigator puts their email address in there. So if I have a question about a certain topic or I have some information regarding an individual, I just send an email out and it goes out to every single every single agent or investigator in the state of California. And the reason why I bring that up is there's been two incidences that happened up north that actually affect the city of Brawley. One of them was an incident up in Salinas, and they were doing an investigation regarding burglaries. One of the individuals had a Brawley tattoo on his, I believe it was on his back. So this detective up in Salinas sent an email out, and luckily I was at work right when it happened. I contacted the individual. I gave him the phone number to the detective here in Brawley, and I don't know. I know they arrested him for the string of burglaries, but I think they also got a gang enhancer just because of the communication that we had with them. Second incident was the same thing. It had to do with actually a Chicali gang member that was up north, and I want to say it was up in Bakersfield. I can't remember the exact town it was, but it was in Bakersfield area. Again, we got the email, we talked to them, and we found out that person was actually here in the valley, a Chicali gang member. A third incident that happened because of these contacts we have of our local coalition and the state coalition. They needed information from the Calipatria State Prison. They needed to talk to a gang investigator there. Luckily, the gang investigator is also part of the coalition, and he was able to work with the agencies up north. Like I said, we're here to explain what we're about, but we're also asking for your guys' help. We've been working with Chief Crankshaw for the past few months, and he's backed us up 110%. I know Chief Crankshaw, when he was a sergeant, and he's always been really pro law enforcement. Anything that a coalition need or any kind of task force need, he was always there to help out. As soon as we found out that he became chief of Brawley, I went to the gang coalition. I said, you know what? We don't have to worry about Brawley. They're going to help us out, because I know Chief Crankshaw is really into this. He's kind of task force or coalition, and he's willing to do whatever it takes. Like I said, what we're asking for the city of Brawley is actually to give him more tools, or let him help us out a little bit more, and also the citizens. Detectives from Brawley PD have been excellent with us. We also had an incident, you guys had an incident here a couple months ago, and we actually worked with south of the border, Mexicali Municipal, about getting information about an incident that happened here, and it actually did help out a lot. Okay, we talked over the field interview forms. This is an example of the field interview forms that the gang task force uses right now. It's a basic form. We fill it out. We talk to the individuals. Once that individual is photographed or even admits to being a gang member, it's sent to the LECC and it stays with the agency there.
Surprising.
That, like I said, that paper, to some people it's just a piece of paper, but it actually can turn into probation or even 2 or 3 year, even 10-year sentence based on a gang enhancement. Okay, and these are some of the people that we've done FIs on. The Gang Coalition has gone out and they also they've also done some sweeps. One sweep that they did, they actually, I believe they arrested over 60 people, even citations, and they had numerous drug arrests and documents. They also took a couple of handguns off the street.
Yes, so like I said, we're looking to get ourselves involved in different aspects of the gang culture. And one of those that we're trying to do is a lot more training for the local officers. Instead of having to send officers away to other agencies or other cities to get training, we're looking to, from the experts that we have here in the county, we're looking to put that together so we can provide current and Imperial County tied information as far as the training goes, so that the officers here, even a new officer that maybe is not familiar with this area or any other area in the county, he will be able to get that information, and he will be able to be a little bit more knowledgeable when he's out on the streets, being able to identify gang members from Calexico, El Centro, in this area, because there is a big problem. I work in Calexico. We deal a lot with the Calexico gang members over there that are involved in alien smuggling and drug smuggling. We deal with them on a daily basis, but we have seen within the coalition, we have noticed, and we have been able to tie in some of the information now, where it ties in gang members from Calexico to El Centro to Brawley, because of the money that is being made within alien smuggling and drug smuggling and all that. So, a lot of times people think that gang members are rivals, but at the same time, when it comes down to making money, they will go ahead and work together to be able to do that. So that's one of the aspects too, that we want to be able to bring in a lot more training and keep it here local, instead of sending officers out to LA and they're getting good information from up there, but why not get it from what's going on here in the county? We are working on a gang conference. It will be the first ever gang conference that is brought here to Imperial County, where our target date is October 2015, and we've been working with the California Gang Investigators Association. They were willing to help us out. They have supported us 100%, because they understand that Imperial County has been a void for them in a while, for the northern agencies, because, like I said, due to resources being limited here in the county, there has never really been a dedicated gang unit, gang enforcement. So as far as the information, people have for a while have been having trouble on trying to obtain information about here in the county. So through the coalition, we're trying to make that possible as well. But that is one of our goals, to bring that gang conference here in the county, and hopefully we could bring it next year and then continue it after that with the help of all the other agencies locally, and then also some of the other associations that are tied into gang investigations.
Once again, I want to thank the mayor and city council, also the citizens of Brawley. We're not asking for any kind of funding. We're self-sustaining. All we ask is for you to support the coalition and support Brawley Police Department and Chief Crankshaw. We've noticed now that, back in the days, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, gangs, they stuck with their own. But just like my partner said, some of these gangs are starting to work together because they see the value of working together and how they're making big money. And even if they have some kind of issues with each other, they always separate it, because business is business. And we notice the gang culture is actually growing here in Imperial County, because they're starting to work together, even network together. When you go to conferences, to League of Cities, you just do your networking. Well, they're actually doing network now, and it's business to them. Business is business. Everything else can put on the sideline. But Imperial County is not right now as bad as LA County, San Diego County, Riverside County, but let's keep it that way. Let's start working together. And it's not just a law enforcement issue, it's a school issue, it's a city issue, it's a political issue. And to keep our kids safe and even our family members safe, I think we all need to step up, and not just law enforcement, but everybody else. I want to thank you for this time. Like I said, just the thing we ask for your support and give your support to Chief Crankshaw. He backs us up 110%, and we want to thank him for that. If at this time you have any questions for us or any kind of comments, we'd appreciate it.
When and where do you guys meet, Sarge?
We meet at LECC in Imperial third Thursday of every month at 10 o'clock. What we try to do is keep it to an hour, but usually once we start giving the information and we start talking about some of the incidents that happened here, it usually goes for like an hour and a half or so. And that's why if an officer from Brawley Police Department, detective, can go there, it's only going to cost maybe an hour of their time. And we'll try to keep, and also too, not just we share information, but we always try to get a presentation every time we go there.
Exactly. Yeah, I can support our chief being involved with you guys and doing what he can to help. Any questions from council?
Step one, Sergeant, thank you for the presentation, and Special Agent and your officer and the entire task force. And I know that you work extremely close with many of the agencies as you listed up here. You mentioned we're not as bad, which is hopefully a good thing. I know it's a comparative thing, but nonetheless, it's always resources. And I know there's very few of us agencies that that have too many resources. It's always the other way around. But in our support, no doubt, and I appreciate the chief. I've been affiliated with law enforcement myself, as I guess you could say a volunteer over a number of years. If we're not ahead of it, it can get out of control. Right, exactly. And I just want to daylight that we've had a Brawley family that's, I think, no mystery, that was affected, and it affected our city deeply as a result of gang violence. So my question is just, are the efforts that we're doing right now, valley-wide and including in our city, and in your mind, I heard that you guys have really stepped up with some specific enforcement where those field interviews have gone up exponentially. Is that correct?
Yes. Commander Mike Lloyd from the LACC, he oversees the gang coalition or the gang task force right here in the county. He's given the agents there, all federal agents, basically told them, go out and just take care of business. And they've gone out at night, during the day, weekends, whenever they can, and just document, just baby steps, document. So if something does happen, it will help us out in the end. The training that we also do in our coalition is really good, but actually the best part of our meetings, and we get the most information, and it's not really surprising to me, but might be surprising to the citizens, it's actually the school resource officers. They're in with the young gangsters or the ones that are on the border. Once that juvenile starts becoming in gang affiliated, they do brag, they do talk, and when that school resource officer talks to them, they'll tell them all the information of what they're doing, what their parents are doing, what their cousins are doing. And it just as a detective from Brawley needs to be at our coalition meetings, I strongly recommend that the school resource officer also attends a meeting, because they get a lot of information that we have. The most information that we've gotten from anybody, like I said, was school resource officers, and one of them was from Calexico. The Calexico school resource officer actually gave us information that led to an incident that happened in Imperial. And it's a real good resource that we have in the coalition.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out here, and I really do appreciate the information that you shared with us. It's education to me. I'm not in that, I don't work in law enforcement, so I do appreciate your input and your perspective and your insight, what you're teaching, not just me, but the public. And certainly the work and the effort that you're putting behind it. You're out there combating a problem that's not only a problem here in Brawley, but throughout the region. So thank you for that. And certainly anything that we can do as council members to support our chief. He's been a great addition to the city, and I think that he brings an added resource to the region as well. So anything we can do to support you, we're certainly going to try and accommodate you.
We appreciate that.
Is there any questions from the public?
Again, thank you very much. And like I said, again, just all we're asking for your support and support Chief Crankshaw. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jerry.
Chief, did you put him up to that at the last there? There. I know, right? He counted, yeah, right. That's going to be like, you know. I know, right? Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the proclamation for breast cancer awareness, and we'll get with Linda or someone from Between Women organization. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas breast cancer touches the lives of Americans from every background in every community across our nation, and although we have made great strides in combating the devastating illness, more than 200,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year, and tens of thousands are expected to lose their lives to the disease. And whereas during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we honor those who have lost, lend our strength to those who carry on the fight, and pledge to educate ourselves and loved ones about the tragic disease. And whereas the exact causes of breast cancer are unknown, understanding the risk factors is essential to prevention as well as promoting early detection and awareness of the personal and family history of breast cancer. And whereas women and men are encouraged to speak with their healthcare providers and breast cancer and to visit www.cancer.gov to learn more about symptoms, diagnosis, and treatment. And whereas this month we stand with mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, sisters, brothers, and community members who have been affected by breast cancer. And we recognize the ongoing efforts of dedicated advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who strive daily to defeat this terrible disease. In the memory of loved ones lost, inspired by the resilience of those living with the disease, and strengthen our resolve to lend our nation towards a future free from cancer in all of its forms. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Don C. Campbell, Mayor of the City of Brawley, California, do hereby proclaim October 2014 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Brawley. I encourage citizens, government agencies, and private businesses, nonprofit organizations, and all other interested groups to join in the activities that will increase awareness of what Americans can do to prevent breast cancer. And I attended a meeting here a few weeks back where Between Women had a meeting at the Pioneers Memorial Hospital, and I think I mentioned this, and they've put together a goal to try to find a cure for breast cancer by 2020, which is amazing that people can get together and try to set a goal, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of research and money. So whatever we can do to lend a hand. I don't think anyone from Between Women's here tonight, but I'll get a hold to Mrs. Katie and we'll get them the proclamation. Very good. Okay, we'll move right along to. But before I go to the consent agenda, I know we went through the public appearance and comments and everything, and I noticed that Supervisor Mr. Kelly is in the room. I didn't know if he had something he wanted to bring to us tonight.
Look at that smile on his face.
Oh, it's not on your hand?
There you go. Ryan Kelly, 448 Russell Road. I haven't been here for a while, so welcome, Mr. Smurden. It's good to see you outside of Calicut. So, Mr. Mayor, council members, I wanted to give you an update on some activities that the county is working on. We're having discussions about a North County holding facility that would be located in Brawley. This is a need that has arisen from law enforcement having to travel down to Heber to take someone in custody and turn them into the jail. This holding facility would be an intermediary waypoint, and the sheriff's office would make routine pickups and take them to county jail. Related to that, in September we approved the jail expansion, $33 million. It's over a 240-bed expansion. And so that's moving forward. We approved an O&M, and there will be an increase in staff, I think of 16 personnel. On another public safety front, we are revisiting fire contracts for contract agencies. So we I don't know how much it's going to be, Chuck, but it will be an increase, which is what I'm vying for, is an increase of the contract amount to the contracted agencies. And it would be not a one-time payment. It would be an adjustment that would continue. Behavioral health has expanded, and a contract was signed for the Campesinos Unidos. So we approved their reorganization today, and 34 positions will be created for behavioral health. In total, they're going to have to hire 51 people because they still have 17 remaining from their reorg last year. So anybody looking for some opportunities in behavioral health. We haven't spoken since the failure of Senate Bill 1139, but as 1139 failed at the end of August to come to a vote in the floor of the Assembly, and it was a long trek. We were very optimistic and thought that we had the right coalition of Imperial County interests, Imperial Irrigation District, the cities, Coachella Valley, conservationists, environmentalists, labor. Unfortunately, it never got to the vote on the floor, and that was the last hurdle before going to the governor's desk. So we are looking at options of reintroducing it in the next session, but development in the known geothermal resource area is still, there's still a lot of interest, and the governor has hinted that there will be a new program that comes out at the first of the year after the election, of course, that will address some of the disparities between renewable energies, meaning that if you weren't aware, on a Sunday afternoon this summer, solar was given the tax exemption for a 10-year extension. And that disparity has played out. So the geothermal is at an unfair advantage or disadvantage. Symbol Materials is going to be, a Brawley business, is going to be in front of the Planning Commission tomorrow. And this is for their conditional use permit. This is for their first facility of lithium extraction. And they have tentatively scheduled a January 7th groundbreaking. There will be a highway light at Highway 86 and S22, so if you didn't know about that, it's a very dangerous intersection, people trying to cross. So it's already been approved, it's fully funded. The only delay is that there was only one bidder, and Caltrans has spent the last 2.5 weeks reviewing that one bid to see if we can go forward or we have to recirculate. Some news on National Beef. There is a Korean company that is showing very strong interest in acquiring the property. They've been put in contact with Simon McGee, the CFO for National Beef. There has been some dialogue that I've seen, and hopefully a conference call is going to be scheduled before the end of this week. A couple of items that are on the horizon is business licenses in the county. Business licenses were applied in a 2007 ordinance, and then it was changed or modified in 2012 in December. It has been applied to all businesses that have operations in the county. So regardless if they have a business license in the city, if they have any operations in the county, they have to get a business license. We are going to re-examine this application, business licenses. In fact, ag was originally to be exempt in 2012. They were included in business license requirement. So I am a proponent of ag exemption and some other things that seem to be a duplication of service. Coupa is another issue. We have, in the last 5 months, we've been having internal discussions about Coupa, and we have sent a letter to Cal EPA requesting a complete dialogue on the reversion of Coupa responsibilities to the County of Imperial. This is another duplication of service where what was intended to be the collection of data on hazardous materials, storage, and use, and shared with first responders has not, the information sharing hasn't occurred to the effect that was desired a decade ago. So if it was managed by the county, I believe that it would be more effective, and it would be the application of it would be better across the board. And most of the business community is wanting to see this change. We are one of 2 counties in the state of California that do not have local control over Coupa. It is Imperial County and Trinity County. And they're operated by the Department of Toxicological Substances. And we have the same manager as Trinity. He moves back and forth during the month between the 2 counties. And then one other item that doesn't have direct impact on the city, but it does on some of your businesses, is Austin Road. There's a Meridian. Rosanna scolded me for being a little hard on Marlene Best, but there's a Meridian there that causes a lot of angst to the ag community and also to general safety because, yeah, she did. She chastised me. Because that Meridian, people are it's supposed to be a right turn only. They turn right and then they flip a U and go back towards El Centro. Sure. Or they cross and go directly against traffic coming off of that bridge. So a traffic study is being done to see if a stop sign is warranted or improvements that can take out the Meridian. And the county is willing to entertain the cost sharing of those improvements. And that's all I have. And if you have something I need to take back, tell me.
Yeah, Ryan, I really appreciate you coming and providing information, but I do have one question. I know the county is not directly involved, but with the detention center, because we did have a lot of those employees come before this council with concern, and right. I think the deadline on that was September the 30th.
So it is officially announced the closure, and the conversation, Mr. Mike Kelly and Mr. Jack Terrazas have had conversations with the sector chief and also with the fellow in San Diego, and they've put some options in front of them, using it in other capacities, either for family units that are awaiting either return to their homeland or through processing or some other way to make use of that facility instead of letting it revert.
So there's a possibility those folks may be able to retain their jobs and maybe...
MTC has hired, I think, 185. There were over 400 employees at the ICE detention facility. So the trade-off isn't equal. MTC has already come back and they have approached the planning department in expansion. So there are potential jobs in an expansion, and they want to move forward with that very quickly.
Man, that's good. So it's a better outlook than what it was when it originally started, because I remember they were talking 500 jobs, I think, at one time. So, and again, Ryan, thank you so much for bringing information. Does the council have any questions for Mr. Kelly?
I do. I want to call you and talk to you about it.
Ryan, thank you again.
Thank you.
Not yet. Only if you can't do it.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, we're gonna move on then to the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. But if I can, if I'm in order, the item under regular business, item K, can we move that up to maybe the top of the list under regular business after we approve the consent agenda?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's okay with me.
It's up to you,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
What I'd like to do is make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented with moving item K under regular business up to the top of the list under regular business.
Second?
There's a first, right? Was there a first?
Yeah, I made the
Is
motion.
that all right? And I'll second.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with the consent agenda approved and moving that one item up. No, go ahead.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, item K is a funding request that has been presented by the Imperial Valley Desert Museum. It was added at the direction of Councilmember Noriega. And this evening, we do have Jessica Brody here in the audience, and Ms. Brody did make a presentation to the council last month, and just thought we had her towards the end. I didn't expect her here this evening, so thank you for working with the sequence of items there.
Okay. The only concern I had is by not having the item in the budget process and it being vetted through the council and the public, I don't know if this was to happen, this monies would come from the general fund?
Right. The council has a line item in its budget that's all the sponsorships and special events line item. That one comprises a total of $2,500. The request that's before you tonight is for a 5-year buy-in for Land of Extremes content, which is one of the exhibits at the library. It's requested to be a total of $5,000 at $1,000 a year. So at this time, it's not a budgeted item that staff has the ability to draw from. What we're looking for is any feedback from the council. If you wish to pursue this, it would be a budget adjustment and an expenditure out of the general fund reserve.
Well, I mean, yes, I moved this up for the fact that I know that the young lady's here, and I didn't want her sitting here all the time. But I think this was requested by Councilmember Mrs. Noriega. So
yes. Not that I looked at it. It was confusing.
Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking was she was talking. Jessica was talking about. I asked her, how do they sustain themselves? How do they run the museum and stuff? And she says what they do is that they have fundraisers and they send out letters to different people from the valley because it belongs to all of us. So so we talked a little bit more, and she asked do you think that the city of Brawley would help fund? She says, I'm going to go to each city council and request this. And I said, absolutely, come to our city council and request it. You know, if you ask for 10, we'll give you 5. If you ask for 5, we'll give you 3. No, just kidding. But just so she was going to give a little talk about, you know, what exactly they do with this money and how they work with it. Jessica?
If it would be helpful. Yeah, so I was originally asked to come and present to the council, and so I just wanted to make you aware that what the museum has done, because we have always been a community project, is make these opportunities for participation in the final exhibit. And it's not so much charity as it is an investment. We try to make it worth your while. The portion of the exhibit that's before you in the minutes is, well, I guess now it's really far down in the minutes. It's the first thing you see as you come into the museum, and this is our platform for local business. In the last few weeks, actually, since I've presented, I've talked to 3 service groups here and 2 local businesses, and I really want to apply to the council for leadership in getting Brawley excited and encourage them to participate. The museum is going to be an anchor for the county, and we really want to reach up to Brawley as well.
And Brawley will have a little corner. with
Right.
our name on it.
So within the software itself, Brawley will be highlighted as a destination. So our visitors who come off of the highway, right now 33% of our visitation is regional visitation, not county locals. And so what we want to do is drive that business to various places in the community. And so this buy-in into the land of extremes will get Brawley on the map, and the council will have the opportunity to control the content, kind of as it is in the memo, I suppose. So the cattle call is coming. This is going to open very close to cattle call season next year. It's an opportunity to further advertise your hard work here.
Well, speaking for myself, I would really rather see this as a budget item for us to discuss in that process, because I think once you do something like this, and then and not that I support the museum, but I think we just have to be real careful when you get a request like that, and you approve a $5,000 request like that, and then who do you say no to?
That's another
I mean,
issue.
really, I'm being constructive there. And I think what we need to do is, I'm not against it, but I think we need to put it in our budget process for the next go-around and do it in that method. That's just me speaking.
I'll just make a couple comments. I do think it needs to go through the budget process because it's a larger amount of money than what we normally would do under these circumstances. The other thing that I think that we need to keep into consideration is that we certainly support the Desert Museum, and we might buy tickets to fundraisers, and we do items in that way, like where we sponsor certain things, or we buy tickets, and it's usually a smaller amount of money, and we do that, or we buy a table for an event or something along those lines. But I think in this case, we're doing a long range, kind of an investment long range, and I think that needs to be something that's more budgeted, and that we look at that, because I don't like taking the $5,000 out of our reserves right now when we have other projects in Brawley that may need that money that we're looking at, and we have a couple things on the drawing board right now. So that's my major concern. I don't mind supporting the Desert Museum in a certain way, but I do think that that's a lot of money. Right now, I think we provide a certain amount of money to the chamber, to IVEDC, to the Film Commission, et cetera, in those areas. And they're usually a budget discussion. And normally, we don't even provide this amount of money to those organizations that we've supported long range. So I think we need to take another look at this in the budget process. We certainly can provide some support, I think, to the Desert Museum in fundraising events and different other things like that for now, but I would like to see us wait till maybe next year so we can discuss this in the budget process. And if it's something that we need advertising on, then that, or something that we're going to sell Brawley on, I like that idea a little bit better. I wasn't sure totally what the $5,000 entailed. If it's something where we're purchasing a certain amount of advertising or a certain amount of information going out to the public related to Brawley, then I feel more comfortable with that. But certainly, I think it should be a budget discussion.
And also, maybe I wasn't kidding, but it could be a lesser amount. It's what we decide that we can do. They're willing, I'm sure they're willing to work with us. So it doesn't necessarily have to be $5,000. We can, go lower.
I would offer, it sounds like maybe there is some reluctance to move forward with it, but maybe we can, now that we have some marketing efforts underway, maybe we could at least market your programs through our website and through the other things that we have accessible, and that may be in fact worth more than $5,000. So, it may contribute to what you're doing, and then we can reconsider this at another time.
Yeah, in that spirit, I want to make it clear, this is not going to go away. Your efforts, as you presented last time, it's a wonderful whole undertaking that's coming to fruition. So I'm pretty confident this council, whether it's now or in the future, we're going to be able to show our support multiple ways. I do want to make this clear. What I would like to see, all I was going to mention, is just a little bit more connected to what the donation is. Many of the organizations we do donate to, we really work in partnership. So these are long-standing relationships with some of these organizations. So for me, it would just be simply, hey, whether it's $5,000, $2,000, $10,000, It's what does that entail? What would it look like? And I think that would go a long ways with our public in understanding what that investment is. So that would be my only input.
Just one other point that I make is in most of these organizations, what we do is we have an agreement that's worked out with them. And when we provide that money, then we get a return on that, whatever that investment that we make, because we cannot make a gift of public funds. And so there are those kind of issues that come up. And so what we want to make sure is that we have a standing contract with everyone that we do something with, and that it's specifically spelled out what the goals of that are and what all our responsibilities are. And then that's the way, especially when you're talking about a sum of money regarding in the thousands of dollars. If it's several $100s, that might be a little different, and we buy tickets to things and just so that we can be there and show Brawley support for an event. But in this situation, I think it's more than that.
Sure. I understand it was rushed this time around. As you know, we are doing the exhibit build right now, so I just wanted to make you aware of that opportunity. And thank you very much for your time. And we are definitely welcome long-term partnerships in any form. That is exactly what we're looking for. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need to, and what I would do is make a motion that we bring this item back during the budget process and reconsider what the Desert Museum is asking for.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next item under regular business, and that's item 4A. Discussion and potential action to approve request by Brawley Elks Lodge, 1420, to sell and consume alcohol on the city street between Friday, November the 7th, 2014, and Sunday, November the 9th, 2014, as part of the cattle call festivities.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, staff at Dorsey, Parks and Recreation Director. Under item A, we do have the action item to approve the request for Brawley Elks Lodge, 1420, to sell and consume alcohol on a city street, Friday, November 7th, Sunday, November 9th, as part of their annual cattle call festivities.
I make a motion to approve, Mr. Mayor.
I second that motion.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any questions from council? Nope. Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is 4B, discussion and potential action to approve request by City Brawley Chamber of Commerce to sell and consume alcohol on City Street on Saturday, November the 1st, Sunday, November the 2nd, Wednesday, November the 5th, and Saturday, November the 8th, 2014, as part of the cattle call festivities.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Go ahead.
If I may just make one brief comment, there is a request that's distinct from years prior, and I just want to be sure and make the council aware in case you may not have caught it in your review of the materials, and that is that the chamber is proposing this year to sell alcohol during cattle call parade.
Right.
So I just want to be sure that that was clearly stated in the staff report, and if you have any questions, we certainly are prepared to answer those.
No, I think I spoke with Jay a little bit, and as long as we've crossed the T's and dotted the I's, I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's only until 2 p.m. on the day of the parade, right?
Right.
So I've noticed that from the backup, right?
Correct, as other venues then are open and available for their activities to be enjoyed.
Because normally it's just being consumed during the parade, not legally sold.
Well, yeah, everybody kind of consumes during the parade, but I mean, I shouldn't say everybody, but I mean, whoever's going to consume.
There's a lot of red cups flying around.
Yeah, speak for myself, yeah, I got that.
Okay, there is a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll move on to the next item is 4C. Discussion potential action to approve request by Inferno 800 to sell and consume alcohol on the city street on Saturday, November the 1st, and between Saturday, November the 8th and Sunday, November the 9th, as part of annual cattle call.
I would make a motion to approve the request. I would make one comment, though. There was a concern amongst some of the nonprofits that are providing alcohol for sale during the events, and they had some concern with respect to a for-profit entity having approval, having approval to have a sale on city streets. So maybe that's a discussion we can have in the future to distinguish whether or not we'll allow for-profit entities to do events like this on city property. But in the meantime, we don't have a policy in place that distinguishes between nonprofits and for-profits. But I wanted to bring that to your attention in the event that you didn't hear that from some of the members from the nonprofits. I hope that made sense. So I make the motion to approve, but please consider those items in the future.
Okay. All right. Okay. The only question that I had was, if we do this for a for-profit, then we have to do it for, well, we may have to do it for any for-profit that comes forward, and I think that's the question. So I think we've got to look at a policy, and I think we've got to see whether we want to do that in the future. It may be something that we do this one time to see what happens, but I do think we need to establish a policy, and then I believe that the for-profit needs to cover the cost of whatever the cost is related to, say, closure of the city streets or anything else. When we do a nonprofit, we really don't ask them to do that. But I think when we deal with a for-profit, and I don't want to say, any for-profit, but just any for-profit, I think we ask them to cover a certain amount of the costs that are related to that, if there are any city costs related to that. The only other question I had was on this one, is this only to sell beer, or is it for hard liquor also?
I believe it's only to sell beer.
Okay, so it's only for the beer during
Valid
that
point you
time
bring up,
period.
Mr. Cosmo.
Just beer.
Will they be opened by that date?
We have several milestones that are in place that must be crossed by the property owner in order to allow this activity to take place as conceived. The assumption at this point is that the food prep and permanent facilities that are a part of the restaurant may not be complete and cleared for occupancy in time, but the special events that are planned as part of what's before the council are all for outdoor activities, and provided the milestones are met for the outdoor use, we have no reservations on the part of staff with seeing that event take place. But it's not assumed that the permanent kitchen will be in place, or the restaurant facility will be operational. It'd be lovely if that were the case, and we're all keeping our fingers crossed. But the proposed event activities are all within the open air area.
And that area is contained. I mean, it is.
And for the special events, there'll be actual road closure associated with Friday and Saturday night activities. So North Plaza will be closed off, and the entertainment area will be expanded beyond the current fenced portion of the patio, all the way out to the curb line, on the far curb line, the westernmost curb line for North Plaza.
Could I make a comment, Mr. Mayor? And by the way, I'll go and second the motion, if everyone's done. I think I don't intend to have the discussion here, but I do want to just add in my comment. I think as a city that absolutely, the Elks Barbecue, for example, some of our nonprofits out there, the Elks Dance, and the traditional events that we've had, my viewpoint is something like this, whether it be for-profit or not, that is occurring right in the downtown core, that has been the highest priority for this council. So as we move forward, wherever that standard ends up being for how these permits are issued, I think the most important thing is I'm a big believer in synergy, which is, we get two different events happening. We can really get this thing to become more of a destination event that people look forward to regionally, which I think Cattle Call is widely known for. But we're really, to get the kind of traffic that we want downtown, I think we need to really, as a city, continue looking forward to promote this type of event and working together. But no question, there's some issues that might need to be worked out, but I want to welcome all of our nonprofits, all of the organizations. We wholeheartedly support everybody that participates in this event downtown. So,
I mean, when we started with Taking Back Main Street, that was sort of the concept of getting people energized to get things moving, and it's really exciting to see. not just the Elks, but everybody else working out there. And I'm
Sure.
hoping, we've seen over the past year so many events come downtown, and you see so many people come out. It's just impressive to see the town come out and enjoy the community. So I know Mr. Babb's here, and certainly I made the motion to support the action, but I want to thank him for his investment in downtown, because not everybody's willing to put hundreds of thousands of their dollars into revitalizing an area that's been blighted for so long. So aside, from the support there, I thank you for your investment.
And I just wanted to make sure we were going to have some kind of pizza with our beer, so you need to get a move on.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Just one point, your agenda item, although the backup lists Friday, November the 7th, your agenda item does not, and so that probably needs to be taken into consideration. For Inferno 800. It does not list Friday, November the 7th.
My apologies.
But the
So
backup does have Friday, November the 7th
So
included in
if
it.
the maker of the motion would please restate just
I'll restate
for
my
the
motion.
correction, and I apologize for the error.
Correcting the dates as desired.
Okay, and
There's a
those
backup.
dates are Friday, November 7th at 6 p.m. to Saturday, November 8th at 2 a.m., followed by Saturday, November 8th at 3 p.m. to Sunday, November 9th at 2 a.m.
And I restate my motion to include the dates recited by our city manager.
And I'll re-second.
There's a motion and a second with a little caveat that I add that staff get with our attorney so we can get some clarification. So next year, the discussion would be to approve things as they go. So there's a motion and a second with the clarification on the activities and the dates. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck to all of you.
We'll give everybody a minute and we'll go on to the next item. Okay. Did I miss something? I don't think so.
I think we're okay. We're okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 4D, discussion and potential action regarding the first reading of ordinance number 2014, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, establishing a four-way stop at the intersection of Western Avenue and Jones Street and 2nd and C Street. Waive reading and adoption by title only.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members, Yasmina Arellano, Public Works Director. As mentioned, the intersections of Northwestern Avenue and Jones Street, as well as North 2nd Street and C Street, were initially evaluated by the Brawley Police Department based on the excessive speed and variable pedestrian and driver patterns communicated by school officials and area residents. These two intersections were previously studied by the Traffic Safety Committee, and based on earlier traffic counts, the committee did not vote to install four-way stop intersections, control intersections. The Brawley PD increased police officer monitoring at both areas and temporarily placed a speed radar sign at the intersection of Northwestern Avenue and Jones. However, this intersection had a change in conditions with the recent opening of the intersection of Hovley Road and the Highway 111, increasing traffic and again having issues with excessive speeds. The Traffic Safety Committee reevaluated both intersections based on community complaints, and the committee voted to install a temporary four-way stop control intersection during the month of February at both locations. The Traffic Safety Committee later convened and then after the study period to reevaluate the effectiveness of the traffic control measure installed. Both intersections were rapidly accepted by the drivers and have proven effective in improving driving behavior and pedestrian safety. As such, the committee voted to recommend to the City Council an ordinance establishing four-way stop intersections at Western and Jones and at 2nd and C Street.
Okay. I make the motion to approve it.
There's a motion.
Or potential action.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions from council? Any questions from the public? Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next action.
Thank you.
Next item is 4E, discuss and potential action regarding the first reading of ordinance number 2014, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, amending speed limits within city limits, waive reading, adopted by title only.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Mike Crankshaw, Police Chief. The resolution in front, in 2011, a speed survey was conducted. We recently took over Main Street that was transferred over by Caltrans. They had a speed survey already done for the entire length of Main Street. Speed surveys are good for approximately 5 to 7 years. It is required by sections, the vehicle code, that in order for law enforcement officers to enforce speeds, they need to have a valid survey that will remain valid for 5 to 7 years. In 2011, a survey was set up, the various streets. These were the streets that met the width requirement. Also, they were the alternate routes and avenues that were used commonly to avoid some of the main thoroughfares throughout the city. These streets, the way that the survey was done was through traffic counters and through radar and LiDAR speeds. Typically, what the average speed was taken using a 100 car as the measurement for it. They would take the 85 percentile of the vehicles at the speeds that they were traveling, and then they would consider some of the engineering of the streets to come up with the recommendation of what speeds would be appropriate for those streets. As it's outlined in your handout, the various streets and sections, a concern did come up in regards to as streets were close to schools. There is another section that when children are in session, that the speed limit is 25 miles an hour regardless of what the speed. There is one section on Malin area near a school that was recommended at 30. But when children are present, it still remains 25 miles an hour.
Right.
And so if you have any questions about that.
Any questions from council? I'm looking at the list of streets that's in the packet on page 98. I pretty much agree with what the study shows. So,
Chief, I noticed the big, I'm sorry, just the biggest, from that list, the biggest jump out there, am I seeing it? Maybe it's my eyes, but is it, we've had along Best several that are going up about 10 miles an hour from 25 to 35. Is that
55.
Do I see 55 too on there?
There's a 55.
Yeah.
You're going from, I don't know
Malin to
what's
River?
currently there, but
Right.
from Best Avenue between Main Street and Malin Street's 55 now, if we adopt this.
Correct.
55 miles.
Councilmember Couchman, I might point you to page 107. There's a great table that's there that shows you what the existing speed limit is and then what it was increased to, or recommended for increase
after
to.
redoing that street,
Yeah. But I assume the formula includes pedestrian counts, is what they're looking at, pedestrian activity.
That's correct. In addition to just the width, the type of area, either residential, light commercial, heavy commercial, it also takes in consideration what is adjacent to the street. In this particular area, you have businesses on one side of the street, but open fields primarily to the other side, which allows for less traffic to be entering that street, which will allow for the higher speed limit.
Chief, I do just have one comment, or question. Will it be monitored for some time? Because people do have a tendency to, if the speed limit is 25, they go beyond it, and so if it's 30, they may go beyond that. So I don't know if it'll lead to an increase in speed beyond this posted speed limit or not, but will that be monitored during a period of time?
Absolutely. The directive that will be put out is not only just to monitor and to ensure that the speed limits, we have a speed radar trailer that we will be setting out as a deterrent to remind people of their speeds. The other thing to keep in mind is, like any new control, you want to go out, and we're going to make a media campaign talking about the speeds to the different areas. That goes as well as for the stop signs. And then you want to provide folks with appropriate warnings that the speed limit has changed, and I think we'll do that through various educations, possibly even through our website.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a possibility there, but I think our traffic officer will be assigned to these streets systematically to ensure that these speeds are recognized as the safe speed to travel.
Thank you. Just people have a tendency to go faster. They think green means go and yellow means go faster. So just
the good thing with the city streets, unlike freeways, is that you can't really stay with the flow of traffic.
Right.
It's in front of you or behind you. These are
Right.
single lanes for the most part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay,
Is there a motion, Mr. Mayor?
is there a motion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the amendment. Wait a second.
Ordinance.
Ordinance, yeah,
First
for
reading.
the
The first
accepting.
okay.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 4F. Discussion and potential action regarding the purchase of 5 Ford F-150 pickup trucks, 1 Ford F-250 pickup truck, and 1 Ford F-650 dump truck in the amount of $198,605.28 from Downtown Ford Sales utilizing the State of California contract number 1-14-23-20A.
Good evening again. Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. State of California, on an annual or biannual basis, procures vehicles for its fleet. As a public agency, the City of Brawley has the opportunity to piggyback on the state contract to receive the same prices that were quoted to the state. The city quoted 5 2014 Ford F-150 regular cab pickup trucks to replace deteriorating high mileage truck ranging in years from 98 to 2002. These vehicles are 2 at the water treatment plant, 2 at the wastewater treatment plant, and 1 is in the pretreatment division. The total quote for the quote is it's $18,104.35 per vehicle. City staff had budgeted $18,000 this fiscal year. The total for the 5 vehicles is $90,521.75. We also quoted one 2015 Ford F-250 regular cab pickup that will replace a deteriorating high mileage truck used by the Parks and Recreation Department. The quote for this truck is $25,036.31. I think the department had budgeted $25,000 for this truck. And we also quoted 1 dump truck to assist the Streets and Utilities divisions to carry soil, road base, and asphalt during utility and road repairs. This dump truck is a medium duty 5 to 6 yard 2015 Ford F-650 diesel with a cost of $83,047.22. The department had budgeted $90,000 for this vehicle. The total for all vehicles is $198,605.28.
I'm in favor of buying these vehicles, Jasmine, but I do have one concern. If any of these vehicles, including that dump truck, is diesel powered, I just ask that we make sure that the engine that powering these vehicles comply to ARB.
Definitely,
Because
yes.
as you know, some of those requirements are very expensive. So.
Thank you.
And I'll make the motion to approve these purchases on this piggyback.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is item 4G, review and potential action regarding the approval of housing owner occupied rehabilitation program loan H7664-442 funded by the home program in the amount not to exceed $104,610.
Good evening, Mayor Campbell, council members. This item was before you at the last council meeting. You asked for additional information, and we hope to be able to provide it for you. The subdivision where this was, where this house occurs was in the late 1950s, so although we couldn't find the record of when the house was, how old the house was, it's a pretty good bet that the information we gave you at the last meeting, that was early 60s, is good. One of the things that that I misinformed you on was that actually the city is in first position on this loan. It is owned free and clear by the owner at this point. The loan is funded by a home program that targets people that have less than 80% of the median income, so they are pretty much not able to get a conventional loan from a commercial bank. The total, as Mayor Campbell has stated, is $104,610. It is the estimated fair market value based on an appraisal done in September of 2014 after the rehab will be $134,000. And the loan is a 30-year deferred loan, and thereafter it will be amortized for 15 years.
I think the concern that council had was whether there was an existing loan on it and what position we would be in. So I'm okay with the information you brought back.
Mr. Soto, thank you for that clarification. That's exactly the information we needed. With that, I would make a motion to approve.
I second. There is a motion and a second. Is there any other questions from council? I'm sorry.
Yes, I still have a problem with this, only because of the income of the individual and because of their ability to repay this loan. I just don't see it being there, and I think it's going to be a problem for us in the future. So with that in mind, I'm not going to vote to approve this.
Okay.
But I just want everybody to know I'm all in favor of home ownership, and I'm all in favor of these programs. But when it appears to me that it's impossible for them to repay the loan, I can't in good conscience approve that.
Okay, a couple of things that I would like to mention on this is that, in fact, if a family member wants to assume the loan, that is permitted under the program guidelines. And so we've had that happen in several cases, not every case, but several cases. So that may or may not make a difference, but that is the fact.
Okay. Any other questions from council? There is a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. We'll move on to the next item. Review and potential action regarding the approval of housing owner-occupied rehabilitation program loan number H7664-443, funded by home, in an amount not to exceed $32,780.
Well, this is another loan under the same program. Again, it meets the target income group of less than 80% of the median income. This household income is quite a bit better. It's $38,353 for annual income. One of the things that we will be in second position on this loan. The current mortgage is $58,000, so it's at 45% of the loan to value. The estimated fair market value after the rehabilitation will be $130,000 based on an appraisal made in September of 2014, with the estimated loan amount that the rehab would go with. The estimated total loans on the property would be $91,318, and which is below the estimated fair market value based on the appraisal, and it raises the loan to value of 70%. Again, it is a 30-year deferred loan amortized over 15 years thereafter.
I'll make the motion to approve this item.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Okay, we're going to move right along to the next item. Discussion and direction regarding City of Brawley utility deposits.
And Mayor Campbell, as our finance director makes her way up here, we did distribute to you a little earlier today the staff report that had been omitted, and this evening Ms. Walla does have a few PowerPoint slides that help to kind of capture all the research that's been conducted.
So,
one more over.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Ruby Walla, Finance Director. As we talked before regarding deposits, myself and staff went back and did a little bit more research and gathered information, hopefully to address all of council's questions tonight or continue the discussion if needed. Just to recap, currently deposits that we collect for utility accounts, they're collected from all applicants. It's an average of 2 months of base service charges. For single-family residential, it's approximately $197 for the deposit. Owners are refunded after 1 year of good pay history with no late payments. So every payment that's received is by the 15th, the cutoff of the 15th. Once they go past the 15th, then they're on schedule then for review the following year. Tenants in this case are refunded when services are canceled, and refunds are primarily net of remaining balance due on the tenants. Usually we take what we can from the deposit to close out the account, and then they receive the remaining amount. So what we did after that council meeting in this last couple of weeks is we did surveys. And actually we were privy to one survey that was already prepared by the City of Imperial because they were actually addressing the same topic. So we gathered information from them regarding the agencies that they surveyed, and what we have is that we have 3 out of 7 agencies require deposit for owners, and those include Imperial, Sealy, and Westmoreland. And they range from $100 to $200. In the backup provided in the schedule that was given for the Valley, at that time in City of Imperial was noted to have just passed or approved a deposit requirement for $250. Since then, they have dropped it down to $200. Prior to that, they had no deposit requirement whatsoever. So this is new to the City of Imperial. So that's why you have the range there. And I noted Imperial recently reduced from $250 to $200. Heber does not require a deposit. They require just a $25 connection fee for the services. All 3 of those noted within that, with the exception of then Brawley, which is different, the refunds for owners are not refunded until the accounts close. In other words, how we handle a tenant deposit at the time they close the cancel services with the city is when their deposit will be refunded. In this case, they hold the same threshold for homeowners with all those 3 agencies. All agencies required deposit for tenants. That was pretty unilateral. They all agreed, tenants pay a deposit. And those range from $40 to $250, and again, refunded when services are canceled when the tenant moves out. And I did an additional survey through our networking group for local government finance officers, the California Society of Municipal Finance Officers. So I did out a list survey question. And I received 24 responses, which is pretty good considering people take the time out of their day to answer just questions, and it's just a networking group that we have. So the questions that I posed was, does your city require a deposit? If yes, who is required to pay a deposit? What is the amount required for deposit? When is a deposit refunded? Are deposits waived? And if so, under what circumstances? In your backup, you should have received the matrix that tried to comprise. I know some of the information is quite small, but I tried to get their responses exactly the way they responded, which was very helpful. And there was some dialogue going back and forth. I mean, one of them was interesting where I asked, one was like, if you notice, it says they haven't charged deposits in a decade. But the response back, I was like, okay, well, how does that impact your collections? At the end, when an account closes out, they stated basically, in this case, they outsource utility billing, so they don't really see that impact and they don't have to deal with it because it's handled by the agency that they're contracting with. So it didn't give us a fair assessment on that side. So those were the questions. And the summary of those responses, I find them in summary very similar to the local agencies. Primarily, they favor tenants charging deposits. Some charge both, you know. and they had an average period of a 1-year deposit of refund. And then, of course, tenants when services are canceled. What I found interesting was, and I wanted to highlight, is a lot of the agencies waive deposits based on credit worthiness. And it's over a 12-month period. And they varied within the group. So what that does is either, one, they were a customer at ID or the gas company or whoever's available pretty much that they had an account with within the last 12 months. And then they if they had a good pay history with that utility company, then they would give them some kind of notice. I don't know, I haven't seen IID do that. We've worked with IID in other ways when we have issues with when accounts close or when account names transfer. Or what we can do within our own agency is basically if they've had a most recent 12-month history with the city, we can evaluate that account that they were on prior, and if they had a good 12-month pay history, then we would waive the deposit if they went from purchasing a home to buying a new home, or were a tenant and now they're a homeowner. We could look at those aspects as far as doing a courtesy to waive the deposit. And I found that was one of the most interesting things out of this, which was like, the light went on. Then what I wanted to further go through is historical deposit info. So we did go back, all the deposits. We roughly have about 2,100 utility deposit accounts. And this information was interesting. Of those, 774 are tenant deposits. And those, you'll find that those go in and out, and that they constantly, because moving from one home or an apartment or whatever it may be. And so that leaves 1,300 that are owner deposits. So we went a little bit further and said, okay, let's gauge best, what have we collected within this last 12 months as new deposits. Those that are going to be upcoming to be refunded, if it was circulating, they have a good 12-month pay history, and we're going to refund their deposits. 350 of those were actually deposits collected within the current 12-month period. So what that leaves you with is that there's about roughly 1,000 accounts that historically have had a deposit with the city of Brawley and have had at least one late payment each year from the time that they initially made the deposit. We have one deposit. I went back to see the dates because we have the deposit report. We have one deposit that's actually dates back to 1989, and it was only $53.50. But that's never been refunded. It's something that we have on still holding because it gets reviewed and so forth. So it was interesting, and I know Councilmember Nava was interested in seeing the numbers. And then I did a little bit of other detail that's not on there because it's not an accurate gauge on as far as dollar value, how the city, because the way the deposits are rotating within the account, because it could be all of a sudden 5 years someone had a bad pay history, this is the year that they get their deposit back. But I went back 3 years, and we roughly get about an average of $150,000 in deposits each year. And just based on that, if I just use just an example, if that were the year, 45% of that gets refunded to the customer, and that might be net of what they owe to the city. It may be not 100%. And then 26% or $39,000 actually goes to the city's charges for water, sewer, and trash, and utility user tax.
And just to add something there, if we're looking at 1,381 owner deposits, 350 of which were collected within the current 12-month period, to me that's significant because that's over $68,000. It's not working in the economy. So it's just money that's being tied up, and it's not, being spent locally. It's not generating any taxes. It's not doing anything. It's just being babysat by the city. And so that was really my concern. It's not so much with tenant deposits, because that I believe should be held, but certainly with owner occupants, I think it helps improve our customer service delivery. I think it sends a positive message, and really it's we're not underwriters. We're not there to judge somebody's creditworthiness. We'll determine quickly if they're going to make their payments or not. And of course, the water service gets cut off, so it's not like they can continue to operate, continuously without paying. So that's the reason I wanted to bring this issue up. I still I believe that we can move away from the deposit. I've worked in other cities where I've had property and they don't require one. It makes things much easier, and the bills still get paid. So that's the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I appreciate the input that you're providing and the information that you've provided us. I think it's helpful, and it helps me make a better decision. Thank you.
That many cities responded, though.
Yeah, it was great. It was within a few hours, I had several responses.
Yeah,
So
'cause normally
they're
they-
actively working as well, because I got some where, we do share our results usually. Once we do send out a survey, we're asked to consider to send them back so that other agencies have privy to the information. And some wanted direct, didn't advise, we're looking at the same thing, let me know what your feedback is.
I'm willing to try this, maybe on a 12-month basis or 18-month basis, something like this, just to see how it works out and bring it back to council.
And there are several options, Mr. Mayor. The one that I would consider was number 2, charge deposit amount is currently in place to tenants. So anybody who's renting property would still be required to make a deposit, but refund tenants when services are canceled. So whenever they cancel the service, their deposit's returned minus anything that is due. But owners no longer required to pay deposit. And as an example, Councilmember Noriega had mentioned if she were in a transition and she changed hers, a deposit would be required in that sense. But I don't think that that's the message we want to convey. And so I would be in favor of moving forward with that. And I would agree with Mayor Campbell that maybe we can evaluate it over 12 months to